Look back 20 years ago, and John, piggybacking off this epic game coming up here in 10 days, Julian Sayin starting for Ohio State. Of course, Caleb Downs on that team. It's hard not to miss Alabama. What Alabama will not have on opening day. But your thoughts as we get ready for one of the biggest games in college football regular season history.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to overstate the hype. And also just, I think it's so interesting that, Arch is getting his first, start as the entrenched starter against Ohio State. Julian Sayin, as you mentioned, who started his career at Alabama, getting his first career start against Texas. I mean, it's just the huge implications for both. It's a big moment for both of them. Checked in with someone, close to Sayin the other day, who after the news came out that he was going to be the starter, and said he's relaxed, he's ready, he's fired up. I mean, he's got that cool Cali disposition to him. Doesn't get too riled up by things, and I think it helped him manage what proved to be a little bit closer of a quarterback battle than I think people expected, especially with the pedigree that Julian has as a five-star recruit. Will Howard told me that he throws one of the prettiest balls he's ever seen. So he had all those things going for him, and it was still pretty close. He had to really win that job. But I think it's, to kind of tie it together also to what we were talking about, earlier, Paul. I was talking to some of my Alabama friends who are fans, and they already made the comparison when Julian got the job of, man, it's going to be interesting to see who's better this year between Sayin and Ty Simpson. And yeah, I don't think that's necessarily fair to either one of those guys, but I do think because Julian, started his time at Alabama because of an interaction with Kalen DeBoer, that ultimately Julian didn't love how it went about, didn't love that he brought Austin Mack with him from Washington, thought that, hey, I'm kind of getting recruited over, maybe not the right place for me anymore. Him now being at Ohio State and DeBoer turning to Ty Simpson as a starter, there's going to be those comparisons to see, how those guys look, especially in big games for both of them. Week one, of course, Sayin against Texas, and then, Ty Simpson. Florida State's gotten beat up. They were pretty bad last year, but that could still be a tricky game for Alabama, and it'll be a lot of people like you and me breaking down every little piece of how Ty looks in that game.
And finally, just to remind people, because your book came out about a year ago, The Price with Armin Katayan, recall that Sayin story for us and exactly how he ended up leaving. You mentioned part of it, Austin Mack, but there was another part.
Yeah, so it's funny because there's been so many Sayin puns that I feel like I've heard the last couple of days. But he has a meeting with Kalen DeBoer, and one of the big things they've said went for just I think a couple minutes, if that. And one of the first things Kalen asked him was, "How do you spell your last name?" And again, that could be just, I think Kalen's a nice guy. It could be just him just trying to get to know a new face. But I think for Julian, who left high school early, enrolled early, badly wanted to play for Nick Saban, was one of the most highly regarded recruits in the country. Steve Sarkisian was talking the other day about how they wanted Julian and had been to camp. This is a guy who was, everyone wanted him. And so your new coach comes in and doesn't even know your last name or how to spell it. That's a blow. And it didn't go over super well with Julian. And I think he felt like in his brief time there that it was a lot different than what he had signed up for. It was not, the kind of the Saban-like style that he wanted to play for. And it's ultimately why he and Caleb Downs and others decided to leave when they had, opportunities to go anywhere, including staying. They decided to go to Ohio State. It's a momentous thing for both sides, and we'll see how it pans out. But if you read The Price and you read, the chapters dedicated to Julian, like you come away, even if you've never seen him play, you come away believing this kid's the real deal. And Ohio State is extremely fortunate to have him on their campus as their starting quarterback. And there'll probably be at least a few Alabama fans watching Ohio State against Texas thinking, man, I wish we had that guy suited up for us.
John, we got to get out of here, but I'm confused because I know I follow baseball, and the baseball manager has to write out the card when he hands it in before the game. Does Kalen DeBoer have to spell the name correctly? Does it really matter how Julian Sayin spells his name?
I think you got to ask him that next time you talk to him.
I will. I'll wait till after the game. John, great to see you. Always great. John Talty, an outstanding conversation as we head to the break. We're back after this.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look right at you.